Well, hello, my CNC router brother or sister. I am Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I want to give you a big fat welcome to this video where you and I are going to take a deep dive walk into a certain aspect of the Vectric software, whether you're using Cut 2D or the Vcarve series or Aspire. We're going to dive deep into the toolpath area. I get a lot of emails from people who are just getting into the Vectric software, and they have a lot of struggle with this toolpath idea. Now, just so you know what a toolpath is, you design this amazing project in the software, right? And then you bring it over to the CAM area where you're telling it whether you're going to pocket something or you're going to V-carve something. That area is called the toolpath area. And so you instruct the software how you're going to cut it, then how the router bit is going to move around, and that is called the toolpath. Well, if you don't set it up right, your job's not going to come out right. And I've seen some jobs come out pretty bad, unfortunately, and it's very frustrating. So I want to teach you how to do this the right way. So what I'm going to be doing here is going through two projects that people sent me where they're struggling with this toolpath thing. And the project either wasn't coming out the way they wanted to, or it came out looking really bad, and it needed a lot of work. What we're not going to be doing here is actually showing you how to create a toolpath. I've got another video for that. There's a link down below in the description. What we're going to be doing here is walking deep into the toolpath menu and explaining to you what all these things are. But the most important aspect about this is troubleshooting toolpaths. That's what you're going to be getting out of this. You are going to walk away understanding this toolpath thing like you never have before. So, yes, you're going to learn a lot of stuff here. Before we get into it, I just want to tell you something really exciting that I just want to share with you. I've got a whole bunch more bits on the IDC Woodcraft store. You've been asking for other bits. Now I got some of them. I'm still working on this, but here's some of the things I've got. I've got a bowl bit now. A lot of people have asked me for bowl bits. I got larger V-bits, and I've got a keyhole cutter. This is for the bigger projects that you want to hang on your wall. So it cuts a little hole in it, and then it makes a slot. And my personal favorite, is the high performance drill bit. Right? If you want to make cribbage boards, this is the thing to get. This thing rips. There's another video for that. You can watch it down below. You'll get free cribbage board files if you decide to get that bit. So you'll be all lined up for cribbage boards. Okay. Let's dive into this whole thing and teach you about toolpaths. You're going to walk away with so much more knowledge. Let's go.
Okay, so we are in Vectric, and I am using Vcarve. What I'm going to show you works in Vcarve Aspire as well. And I think in some cases you can use this in the Cut 2D version too, in both Pro and Desktop. Okay, let's talk about these two projects that we're going to be working through to help you understand how to troubleshoot your toolpath issues. So first of all, the first project is this one from Donna, who's made this very cool Anthony and Emily McClaymont sign, and it's a stacked text sign. So Emily and Anthony are the first level text, and then McClaymont is the second level text, and then there's a third level, which is the yellow or orange part right there. Donna's issue is when she goes to generate the G-code for this project, she's only getting the cutout, not getting the inner stuff. Now, when I say G-code, that's the toolpath. That's a language that the CNC router understands. You don't need to know it. The software will actually create the G-code program or file for you, and you just plug that into your CNC router control. So when I'm saying G-code, when we're talking toolpath, it's all the same thing. Toolpath translates into G-code, which translates into motion of your CNC router. Okay, so Donna's issue is she's only getting the profile cut out and she's not getting any of the inside stuff, and she doesn't understand why, even though she has done the project correctly here, which looks amazing. The second project is going to be Bart's project, Black Belt Master Bart 2010. And this is something I see quite a lot from new CNC router owners using the Vectric software. And that is this hacked up, choppy kind of looking surface there, and they don't necessarily understand why they're getting it when you can actually get a really good clean finish off your project. This is actually what it will look like when it comes off the machine. So we will come back to this one after we do Donna's. You are going to learn so much in this video. You are going to understand how to troubleshoot all your toolpaths and set them up correctly from now on, and you're going to understand the entire toolpath function when you're saving a toolpath. First, I want to show you what Donna is actually getting, even though she's done the project correctly. We're going to reset the preview. By the way, we are in the Preview Toolpaths menu. I'm going to show you how to get to that. We're going to close this. You have this little brown button here that says Preview Toolpaths. That's how you actually get yourself to be able to look at these projects. It's got a Reset Preview button here, which erases everything. And so you saw what she designed, but what she's actually getting on her router right now from the G-code she wrote is only this, and she's not understanding why she's not getting the inside stuff. It's a very simple solution, but it's a common thing that most beginners don't understand. So we're going to walk through this and show you exactly what happened. And you're going to learn a ton more as we go along. You're going to become like a toolpath expert. What we need to do is actually create the G-code that's going to tell the router how to move around. And the way we do that is by clicking this button right here, Save Toolpath. Now, the picture on it is a floppy disk. If you ask somebody who's like younger than 45 years old what a floppy disk is, they won't know. So if you're less than 45, a floppy disk is basically the old version of a flash drive. Okay, so we click the Save Toolpath. And now we are in the part of the Vectric software that's actually going to create this code that your router is going to understand. So I'm going to just kind of walk through this whole segment real quick so you understand everything that's here. You can see up top it says we're in Save Toolpaths. And then we have these three little buttons here and a couple of check boxes below it. Down below it says Toolpaths to be saved, and there's a little text field. Then we have something called a post processor with a drop down or drop up box. And finally we have the Save Toolpath button. I'll explain each one of these quickly. These three buttons we're actually going to walk through in this video, so I'm not going to dive into this one so much right now. We're going to get to it in just a minute. Down here where it says Toolpaths to be saved is the text that's going to show you what toolpaths are actually going to be written. When I say toolpaths, it's what's displayed down below here. The post processor is it's a little program that sits inside Vectric that is written that tells Vectric how it's actually going to write the G-code. We're not going to dive into that here. You just want to make sure this is set up in a way that your machine is going to understand. So there should be one for your machine in here, or one that's going to be generic that will work with your machine. And then we have the Save Toolpath button, where it actually, when we click that, we actually create the G-code. And of course, down at the bottom, we have the toolpaths that we've created. Donna has created 5. Now that you understand the general lay of the land, let's dive into why Donna can't get the inside of her project done. I want you to first take a look down at the bottom where it says Toolpaths. These are the toolpaths that Donna has created. And the first thing is if you look at the word Toolpaths, and right next to it is a white box. That is a checkbox. When you click it, it's going to select everything down here or deselect everything down here. So you see right now there's white boxes in front of every toolpath. When I come up and click this white box, all the white boxes down here check. This is a global select and deselect. Now when I check it again, everything goes away. So I'm going to click it again, turn them all on, and you see we get all these blue lines showing up in Donna's project. What these blue lines are the actual path that the bit is going to be taken when it's cut in the project. What we're going to do is we're going to uncheck everything.
Okay, I have to make a little bit of a distinction here, actually an important distinction. So you remember I was checking those check boxes, right? And the blue lines would show up. What we were doing when we checked those check boxes was we made the toolpath visible. When you see all those blue lines, the toolpath is visible. When you uncheck that checkbox, it is now invisible. So that's really the proper terminology when it comes to those checkboxes. You're either making the toolpath visible or invisible. There's another term that I was using, and I didn't want to get you confused on this, which is select. You would think that when you check a checkbox, you're selecting that item. However, when it comes to Vectric, it uses the term select in a little bit different way, which you're going to learn about in just a second. I just want you to remember this. It's very, very important when it comes to understanding Vectric. Checking the checkbox, you make the toolpath visible. Unchecking it, the toolpath is invisible. And select is what we're going to be talking about in just a second. Now, Donna, just for you, this is the moment where you're going to understand why you couldn't get the amazing stuff inside of your project when you were generating your toolpaths. So let's go.
You notice that the word cutout is highlighted blue and nothing else is. What that means is that is a toolpath that we have currently selected. If you notice up top in these 3 radio buttons, the round buttons like this are called radio buttons. And the whole reason they're called radio buttons, here's a little tip for you, is because you can only select one at a time. It's like a radio station. You can only listen to one radio station at a time on your dial. So when I select the next one, you see the first one turns off. I can't have any more than one selected. So Donna is currently on selected toolpath. What this is telling Vectric is that she only wants to create the G-code for the toolpath that is highlighted blue. Blue is the selected toolpath. You can see if I click another one over the text, it turns blue. So now that would be the selected toolpath, and that would be what Donna would be running. So I want you to notice something. We're going to go back to the cutout, and I look up here at the toolpath to be saved while we are on selected toolpath, and it says cutout, and then it says radius, end mill, and it has the tool or the bit type listed right there. What this is telling us is it is running the toolpath named cutout, and the text here is the bit itself that's in that toolpath that's being called up. So this is telling us that only the cutout toolpath is going to be generated, and that's exactly why Donna is getting that.
Okay, so let's just rehash this real quick because this is important. You remember the toolpaths down at the bottom, there's 5 of them, and the very last one is called cutout. That one is selected as blue. You remember it had the blue on it. Up top in the 3 radio buttons, we had the first one selected, and that one says run selected toolpath. And then down in that little dialog box in the middle, it said cutout, and it told what bit we're running. So this is the setting, Donna, as to why you are only getting the profile cut as opposed to all the other cuts, because the top button was selected and cutout was highlighted blue. Now, this is where the distinction of visible, invisible, and selected come into play when it comes to Vectric. Visible toolpaths are when the checkbox is checked, and you can see all the little blue, green, and red lines in the drawing. Invisible is when they're unchecked and you can't see those lines. Selected is when we have this, either any one of these toolpaths clicked as blue. And that's how Vectric, the languaging in Vectric is set up. Okay, so Donna, that's exactly why you can't get the stuff into your project and you're just running the profile of it, because you're running this selected toolpath. Now let's show you how to fix it.
So what we would do, I'm going to assume you have your post processor set up properly. Now, I've got other videos to discuss that, so we're not going to talk about that. So what we're going to do is come down and click the Save Toolpaths, which is the steps that Donna has taken. We click that, and we open up a place where we can save this file. And the first thing we notice is the file name. it says Cutout. And you can see that that is matching the name of the toolpath down below over here. That tells me that that is the only toolpath that is being created. If I click Save, that's what it's going to write. Only this toolpath that she made. So how does Donna fix that? Well, let's go a little further before we come to the ultimate solution that Donna needs. I want to explain one more thing here, is we can have all these checked. The blue one is still considered the selected toolpath. Okay, now let's just default back to where Donna was. The other thing is you'll watch when I select a different one. We're going to select the one called Tool Text. And I want you to see the text up here, how that changes. So when I click Top Text, now it says the toolpath to be saved is Top Text, and it has the end mill 1/8 in it. So that's going to be the diameter 1/8 end mill. And so all it's going to cut out or save is the, basically in this case, the finish work for Emily and Anthony. Now we're going to go to the next selection, which is visible toolpaths to one file. All right, so this is a button that you probably will never use. We're going to select that, and we notice immediately down here, toolpath to be saved says no visible toolpaths. Well, don't we have one selected down here? Yes, we have one toolpath selected, but nothing is considered visible. A toolpath becomes visible when we click the checkbox next to the toolpath. So I've clicked, let's click the top text clear one, and you see we have all this blue stuff here. Now we can actually see the toolpath, and look what happened here. Top text clear one. So now we have a toolpath that we can save, and it's the visible toolpath. So now I'm going to click the next one because we want to do all the visible toolpaths. So why not make them all visible? So we'll just click this click default across the board selection toolpaths. And when I click that and check everything, they're also visible now. They're all showing up here, but now we have an error over here. What it says is the visible toolpaths use different tools, and the selected post processor does not support tool changing. What that is telling you is right here, the post processor is a program that is written for the CNC router that you have, and it has to be written in a certain way to prevent Vectric from writing G-code in certain ways. In this case, we're going to assume Donna has a CNC router like what I have, the long mill CNC router, which I absolutely totally love and recommend. And if you're in the market for a CNC router, down in the description below is a link to a very deep dive review video that you may want to watch. What this is saying here is there are more than one types of router bits that's going to be cut in this project, which we're going to dive into in a little bit. I can tell you up front right now, there's a 1/4 inch flat bottom down cutter that she's using. There's a 1/8 flat bottom down cutter that she's using, and there's a ball nose bit that she's using. So she's using 3 types of bits. And what this is saying is the post processor does not support a tool changer. You might see the acronym ATC. What that means is automatic tool changer. Most home-based CNC routers do not have that capability. You have to manually change the bit instead of the machine automatically changing a bit. So it's not going to let us write the program because we have all of them selected down here using 3 different bits. It just can't do it. The post processor won't let it do it. The Save Toolpath button is grayed out because of this error.
Now, I just want to take a second to make sure you understand clearly what a post processor is. Your CNC router has a certain set of rules that it has to follow in order to know what to do. That's just built into the brains of the machine. And it may have some extra features like an automatic tool changer. Well, when Vectric writes the G-code, or is getting ready to write the G-code, it needs to understand how your CNC router needs to interpret that G-code. And so it has to have a set of rules in order to be able to write that G-code properly. That's exactly what the post processor is. It's a set of rules that Vectric needs to follow in order to write your G-code the right way. So when those rules are being asked to be violated, like we're trying to run all the tools in one file, and the post processor says we're breaking that rule, it stops Vectric from writing the G-code. So think of the post processor basically as a set of rules that's specific to your CNC router. And it's what Vectric uses to measure, to know how to write the G-code so that your CNC router will run the right way. If you're breaking the rules, then you had the wrong post processor, or you're asking it to do something that your machine is not designed to do, and it's breaking the rules. All right, let's get back into this.
So what we're going to do is we're going to try something different. We're going to go to the third button, which says Visible Toolpaths to Multiple Files. Now I'm going to click that button, and I just want to uncheck this box real quick. We'll come back to this little checkbox. And so now we have text here, and what you'll notice is every toolpath is listed here. Tool text, top text 1, clear 1, top text, pocket clear 1, pocket 1, and then we scroll down and it says cutout. And next to it, each one says the bit style. And if you look down here at the bottom, we have top text clear 1, top text 1, all the names of the toolpaths are mirrored up here, and it's telling us what bit we're using. Now, this is all visible ones. Remember, the keyword is visible. If I unclick one of these, we'll unclick the top text clear one, the very first one, you'll watch this text up here is going to go away for the first one that she has. So I click it, and now it's gone, and now she only has 4 toolpaths because there's only 4 toolpaths at the bottom that are visible.
Well, you've been around here for quite a while. I've got to hand it to you. You're learning a ton of stuff. In fact, if you feel like this video is really helping you understand this toolpath stuff, or just what I teach in general, will you take a second and just hit that little thumbs up down below? It lets me know that I'm giving you the right kind of stuff, and it lets YouTube know that I'm giving you the right kind of stuff. And it's an algorithm thing as well, and that'll help rank the videos that I create for you, so it'll help other CNCers as well. You know, we're paying it forward kind of thing. And if you're brand new to the CNC stuff, you really want some deep dive understanding to it, then you might want to subscribe, because I got a ton of videos out here for you, and I keep cranking them out.
Now we're starting to make some sense here. Okay, we can generate all the toolpaths to multiple files. Excellent, Donna. Now you can actually create your project, because look, save toolpaths is something we can actually use. So let's go ahead and click that. And you see that we have this name that comes in that is called Top Text Clear 1. So that is going to be the global front end name to the toolpaths that are going to be written. You're going to see what is actually going to happen. I'm going to click the Save button. I want you to remember this name, Top Text Clear 1. We click Save, and now the software has written all the G-code for all 5 of these toolpaths. And let's go take a look at what it actually just created. So I'm going to go into the directory, and you see there's 5 different files. These are the G-code files. Yay, we got there, Donna. Not yet. We got a lot of cleanup work to do, girl. Okay, but I want to show you. You can see that everyone is named Top Text Clear 1. They're starting out like that, and then it's got some text after it. The first thing it has is the number 1 right there. Number 2 is on the next one. Number 3, number 4, and number 5. So what Vectric has done has given us the title, which was Top Text Clear 1, and then it put a number after it. So that number is respective of the order of the tool paths that are down here. So the first one is top text clear 1, and look at the name of the toolpath is top text clear 1 top text clear 1. So what it has done is put the general name in the front, which is top text clear 1, and then it says top text clear 1 again. And you'll notice the next one is top text clear 1, 2, and it only says top text when it starts to repeat itself. It doesn't say the clear 1 like it does over here. That's because top text is the name of the second toolpath. There is no stuff after that. You'll notice the third one says pocket 1 clear 1. And look down here. The third one is pocket 1 clear 1. The fourth one is pocket 1, and then it goes to cutout.
Okay, now I know you're going, I totally confused you with what I just showed you. This is just the way Vectric works, so we need to work with it to make it work in a way that we understand it really well. And that's exactly what you're going to get. So we're going to take all that pretzel in your mind that I just created, and we're going to get it all straightened out right now. Let's go.
The thing about this naming is it's really confusing. If you haven't gotten confused in the last 3 minutes as I tried to explain this, then you are a genius. You are not normal. You have a extra large cerebral cortex or something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these. And we're going to start showing you some pretty cool tools. We are going to go back in and we're going to save the toolpaths again with the same settings. We have visible toolpaths, the multiple files. All the toolpaths are checked down here. We click the button Save Toolpaths, and we get the same exact thing as our default name that's popping in, top text clear 1. But what we're going to do is change that name to Anthony. And we're going to click Save. And now we go and look at that directory again. And now look at the names of our files. We have Anthony 1, Anthony 2, Anthony 3, Anthony 4, Anthony 5. We know what the sign is. It's Anthony and Emily, and we are in order of the bits of the toolpaths as they are written down here. So now this is starting to clean up a little bit. It's looking good. We know that this is top text clear 1. But this is another little problem here. Even though it's all making sense, it's still a little inefficient and can still be confusing, because if you look at Anthony 1 and then it says top text clear 1, that doesn't really tell us a whole lot. We just know it's top text. Okay, so what we're going to do is delete that again, and we're going to go in and make this even better, Donna. I hope you're hanging out for this whole thing, because we're just going to make this work so much better for you, for anybody. Okay, so we're going to close this toolpath for now, the Save Toolpath area. And what we're going to do is take a look at the toolpaths that Donna has created. Now, I want you to notice something. We have one here that says top text clear 1, and then the other one says top text. So the name starts off the same, and then it's got some text after the first one, which is clear 1. Same with pocket 1, clear 1, and then pocket 1. What that is telling me is these are actually considered one toolpath setup. The top text clear 1 and top text are one toolpath setup, and the pocket 1 clear 1 and pocket 1 are also one toolpath setup. And we'll show you that in just a second. I just want to show you one other thing, something that will help you out a ton. When you hover over a toolpath, you see a white dialog box pops up. And what that dialog box is telling you is all the information about that toolpath. Of course, it doesn't want to stay up there, so we have to go over it. It says the name of it, and then it tells you what bit you're using and all the settings that the bit has and the estimated time. So that's a very cool little feature if you just want to get a quick reference. And we are actually going to use that here. But first, I just want you to understand why I know these are part of the same Toolpath setup. I can click either one of these and it'll take me into the same toolpath. So I'm going to double click top text, and you look here in this white field, and we have a 1/8 end mill and a 1/4 inch end mill. So what Vectric is doing is writing the toolpath for 2 bits. So the first bit is going to do the roughing work and the second bit is going to do the finishing cleanup work. And then the name of it down at the bottom is called top text. Vectric has to distinguish between these two when it writes the two toolpaths. So for the 1/4 inch bit, it's considering that to be a clearing bit. And it's considering the very last bit to be the final cleanup bit. And so that's why when we look at the thing, we see clear 1. We know now that that's a 1/4 inch bit that's going to clear out material. And of course the same thing is with this pocket 1. When I click into that, she has the same thing going on here. And then down at the bottom, the name is pocket 1. And we click it, and we have the clear in parentheses for the 1/4 inch bit, and then the pocket for the final 1/8 inch bit. What Donna has here is awesome. We're going to make it more efficient. So one of the things I strongly encourage you to do is name your tool paths all the time. Just get in the habit of doing it right up front so you know exactly what they're for. So we know the first one is top text, the first two. The bottom one is technically the bottom text, so we should be calling that bottom text, and then the final one is cutout. So for the most part, Donna has set this up well, but we're going to clean it up even more. So we're going to hover over top text clear 1, and in the little the dialog box that shows up, we know it's a 1/4 inch end mill. So what we're going to do is right click over any part of this word. It's going to select it. You can see it highlighted blue, but it also gave this menu here. So we're going to click rename, and what that's doing is allowing us to edit the name. And so we're going to take out clear 1, and we're going to put in top text 1. And then what that 1 is for is so I know that's the first cutting job for that. You'll understand that in a second. Then I'm going to put a space. I'm going to put a 1/4 EM. And that tells me that it's a 1/4 inch end mill. And then I'm just simply going to click down here, and that text is going to take. And so now it says top text 1 EM. Now I'm going to come to the next one, which is just top text. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to rename it. Well, first we're going to hover over it and look at that drop down. So it says it's the 1/8 end mill. That's what I want to know. So I'm going to right click it, come to rename, and I'm going to come to the end of it, and I'm going to space and put a 2. So I know that that's the second tool path. Then I'm going to put a 1/8 EM, and that stands for 1/8 end mill. So now I know that that's the second tool path that gets run for the top text, and it's using a 1/8 end mill. And then I'm going to click down here again, and that text is taken. So the pocket text, pocket 1, clear 1, and pocket 1, it's the same situation. So we're going to hover over pocket 1. Now let's just take a look at the toolpath. I'm going to uncheck toolpaths, and I'm going to look at pocket 1. And so we can see it's cleaning out all through this whole area. And then we're going to click pocket 1. So the first one we picked was pocket clear 1. I'm going to unclick pocket clear 1, and you can see the 1/8 inch end mill is getting into all these little tight spaces. So that's the finishing bit. Okay, so we hover over pocket 1 clear 1, and it's a 1/4 inch end mill. We also know it's the first run. So I'm going to change the name of that to bottom text. So we're going to click the rename, and I'm simply going to write in bottom text. This is the first path, and I'm going to type in 1/4 EM. And click down here, and the text takes. Now for pocket 1, I'm going to hover over it. It's a 1/8 end mill, so we're going to right click, rename. We're going to call it bottom text 218EM. And we'll click down here. And for the cutout, let's see what we're using there. So she's using a radius end mill. And it's got all the end mill information in here. The tip is 0.375. So we're going to rename that. We're going to leave it as cutout, and then we're just going to put in 3 because we know it's like the third whole set of toolpaths. We don't necessarily have to put in 3. I mean, we know in our head cutout is the last operation. But I'm going to put in 3, and then I'm just going to put 3/8 RAD. So it stands for 3/8 radius ball nose. Click down here, and it took.
So now we understand our toolpaths. We can look at it and know exactly what it's doing, what bit it's using, what order it is in, and it gives us a lot more flexibility in what we're going to be doing now because it helps us have clarity in our mind. When I teach business, if you are in business as a CNC, people don't buy until they have clarity, and so it's our job to provide clarity. And doing this with the toolpath gives us so much clarity. All right, let's move on and make this project even more efficient.
So now we have a better coordinated way of looking at this. And what this is also going to help us do is become more efficient in our settings. So one of the things that we're going to go back to the toolpaths that were created. I already deleted them, so we're going to regenerate them. I'm going to go to Save Toolpath, and you're going to actually see how this changes things. So we are set on visible toolpaths to multiple files, and I'm going to select all the toolpaths to make them all visible. The text is shown up here. That lets me know that I am writing for all the toolpaths, and I'm going to click Save Toolpath. I'm going to give it the name Anthony again. Now we'll give it Emily this time. Emily deserves some attention. Emily. Click Save, and now we're going to open up that directory, and now we have all the toolpaths called Emily. We have Emily 1, which is the first one. It says top text 1, 14 end mill. Now we know what bit. We can simply look at the file. We know what operation this is and what bit to put in. And so we can look at all these, and we know that we're in the third operation, that we need to go to the fourth. We can simply look for Emily 4 and plug that one in. So we have clear information now in the name of our file. This will help you out a ton. But we can make this even more efficient because right now we have 5 different files. We can knock this down. I'm going to select all these files. I'm going to delete them. And we're going to come in and we're going to select this Group Where Possible button. Simply check that. And then we're going to save the toolpaths again. Now, what's going to happen? We're going to say Emily, and we're going to say Save. And we're going to look at it, and we are going to have 5 toolpaths. So what the heck did that checking this Group Where Possible button do? Well, in this case, it did absolutely nothing. Vectric, when it writes toolpaths, always goes from the top of the toolpath down. So when we're saying Group Where Possible, we're saying if there is a similar bit that's being used in another toolpath, bring it together. So it's all in one G-code program or G-code file. And that's what we tried to do here when we said Group Where Possible right here. But because Vectric technically simply goes right down the list, it sees a 1/4 inch end mill, then an 1/8 inch end mill, then a 1/4 inch end mill, then an 1/8 inch end mill. It can't group because we're looking at we can group the 1/4 inch end mills. Right, that's what we want to do. We want to group the 1/8 inch end mills, but we can't because there's a 1/8 inch end mill sitting between the 1/4 inch end mills. So Vectric simply will not do it. It's written in a logical way. It will only do what we want it to do. So I'm going to delete those again. And what we're going to do is look at Donna's project in a little more logical way. So I'm going to uncheck all the toolpaths. We're going to close this for a minute, and we're going to run all of her toolpaths. Well, what we can do is simply, if you look at the top text, we're not going to run it yet. We're going to look at the top text and we're going to look at the bottom text, the roughing part. We can technically do all the roughing first with one bit and then come back and do the finish work with the 1/8 inch end mill all at one time, just like that. And that's exactly how we want to set it up. Now, Donna, we're going to do another little tweak to your program. Gives you a lot of another inefficiency thing here, but we'll take care of that in a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do is we know that we can do the top text with the 1/4 inch end mill and the bottom text with a 1/4 inch end mill at the same time. So we're going to select the bottom text. It's selected when it's highlighted blue. We're going to come over to this little arrow right here and click it, the up arrow. We click it and now it has moved up one position. So we're going to cut the top text with a 1/4 inch end mill, then the bottom text with a 1/4 inch end mill, then we're going to switch the 1/8 inch end mill and it's going to come in and do the top text cleanup and the bottom text cleanup, and then it'll do the cutout. And this will make things a lot more efficient now. So we're going to close this. We're going to come back to the Save Toolpaths. We have visible toolpaths checked, so we have to make them all visible. So we're going to select the little checkbox next to toolpath. So all the blue is showing up. It's all showing up here. And we have group where possible. And remember, I said Vectric sees it in order. So now it sees a 1/4 inch end mill in the first toolpath and the second toolpath, and it sees an 1/8 inch end mill in the third and fourth. Now it can group these 2 1/4 inch toolpaths and the 1/8 inch toolpaths. So we're going to click Save Toolpaths. We're going to call this Anthony, because Emily got it twice. Anthony. There we go. And hit Save, and look what happened. Now we have 3 toolpaths. What we have just done is created, if you look here, it says Anthony 1 and 2. And it says top text 1/4 inch end mill, but we know that it's going to do the bottom text as well. So we can modify the name here. Then the second one is going to be both toolpaths with the 1/8 inch end mill, and the third one is going to be with the finishing bit to cut out the profile. So what we have done is saved Donna 2 bit changes. So this project is now done. I hope that you understand how this all lays out and makes this stuff work much better, and why sometimes you can't seem to get all your toolpaths going.
So we've made a whole lot more sense out of all this toolpath stuff, and you now understand all the little nuances in the toolpath. There's one other thing about this toolpath menu. There are a couple grayed out boxes in there. They're check boxes, but they're not accessible with the way I have it set up. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'll teach you that in a different video. Right now you got the important basics down as a beginner as to why your toolpaths get messed up. Of course, we got another project we have to get into to show you the other common problem that beginners have and how to get around it. Now, Donna, we have straightened your project completely out. You can not go and run it yet unless you want your machine to run for an insanely long time to cut out this project, and you're going to see exactly why in just a minute. If you're brand new to CNCs or just getting into this stuff, this is something you want to be paying attention to, because most people don't really realize this until much later on. Have to find out the hard way, why their jobs take so long. Let's get into this. We're going to troubleshoot one more thing in Donna's thing, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Now we're going to fix one more thing for you. You're going to get a little bonus tip here. Donna, pay attention. All right. So as I turn this sideways, you see we've got all these blue lines, we've got the red lines, we've got the green lines, and we have cyan lines. Okay, so each color represents something different. The red lines mean all the rapid moves that the bit is going to be making. Basically, it's going to go from one position to the other quickly. The blue is all the cutting moves. The green and the cyan, we'll just say they're plunge moves. But I want you to notice how high these are. it almost looks like they're about 2 inches above the project. What happens is the bit comes up to this upper level, and it goes to its position, and then it starts doing what they call plunge move. In your bit settings, you have feed rates and plunge rates, and your plunge rates are typically much slower than your feed rates. And so it's going to take a lot of time for the bit to get from the top of this red line all the way down to the blue line. And this could take 10 seconds, 15 seconds each time. And look how many of these green and cyan lines there are going up and down. Every one of these time adds up on this. So here's how we fix this simple little thing if you ever run into this. And then we're going to get to Bart's sign. So we're going to close the toolpath. And we are in the toolpath area. And we're going to come up to where it says Material Setup. And I'm going to click the Set button. Little bonus tip. And down at the bottom, you've got this little area called Rapid Z gaps above material. And Donna has the clearance Z at almost 2 inches and the plunge Z at almost 2 inches. Let's quickly explain what these are. The clearance Z is where the bit actually pulls up to make a red move somewhere else. It's pulling out to make a rapid move. So it's going to come up rapidly, and then it's going to move over rapidly. And then it's going to rapid down, and then it's going to start to plunge down. So rapid is basically as fast as the machine can go. Plunge is what you've set it at, and often that can be kind of slow. So first of all, we don't need this to come up this high, 2 inches, unless you have 2-inch clamps, Donna. If your clamps are 2 inch high, then you need to come up 2 inches. I would change that to more like 0.2. And then your plunge, which is the position that the bit comes down to before it starts its plunge move, change that to 0.1. Now, before I do this, I'll show you what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to change these numbers, default them yet, because I want to show you what happens. We're going to take a look at the clock. And the clock is showing that we have a 7-hour job for this project. 7 hours, almost 8 hours, 7 hours, 56 minutes. Okay, so we're going to close that. We're going to go back to the set, and we're going to change the Z to 0.2, the first one, and then we're going to change the other one to 0.1. And we are going to click OK. And it says we're just going to say OK on this because we simply just told it we're changing the way the bits are going to be working. And it's did all the calculation. Now look, all that space is gone. Okay, this is very cool. We are doing much better. Let's take a look at the clock. Simply by doing that, we knocked off almost 3 hours off this job. Now this job should actually be even shorter than that, but we've knocked off that much time. So we're going to close that. I can tell you how to make this even more efficient, Donna, but we're not going to get into that. That's your tool bit, router bit settings. I have other videos for that. I have an entire list of videos that I've created. I've sorted it. It's in order if you want it. Down below, you have to give me your email so I can send it to you. So you sign up to the CNC Insiders. That's when I make my first announcements anyway. So if you want to be like have first dibs on new bits that I'm getting, things like that, discounts I find, then you got to get on that list. But you want that PDF of all the videos I've created. It's all in order. Okay, that's Donna's project. We have made it much more efficient, and we have saved her some tool changes and some other things. So Donna, there you go.
Well, we deep dove into Donna's project and resolved all the issues, and you understand at an entirely new level about this toolpath stuff and troubleshooting it. But you are not done yet, because there's another very common issue that people have that I want to make sure you know how to deal with and do it correctly. It won't take as long. We've been at this for about an hour now. This next section will take about 20 minutes, but it's another, like, you have to understand this aspect. So we're going to dive into Bart's project. Just remember, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want more of this really deep dive stuff, and drop Vectric a note. Tell them this guy's out here helping you, right? Okay, let's dive into Bart's project.
Bart has a couple of issues. His project just didn't come out good at all. So this is what Bart's project actually came out looking like, and he doesn't really understand. So you can see it's missed a lot of stuff, and it's very choppy up in this area here. So we are going to solve this entire problem so Bart can have a better issue. Now, Bart, you've got some other issues going on here too. You see that it's almost like the machine literally moved, or the project moved, because it's two cuts and the whole thing is shifted out of position, because I can see right here the C is cutting down here on the top layer, and then the bottom layer the C is actually moved up here. Okay, so that may be a clamp issue, or your machine may not be strong enough. There's a number of reasons, but we're not getting into that here. We're going to get over to Bart's project, and we're going to find out how to clean this up, because you can see all this choppiness up in here. There's a reason for that, and I see this all the time. So that's what we're going to solve here, and we're simply going to make this whole thing look a lot better. What we're going to do first is analyze it. We got to understand what's going on. Why is he getting this choppiness? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 toolpaths when there should probably only be 3 or 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is really just toggle through these things to see how they look. What we're going to do by toggling is we're going to click the checkbox next to the toolpath one at a time. The very first toolpath does this little weird line, and it's a Vcarve toolpath. So it's actually taking a V-carving bit and just doing one cut, which is actually not in the picture that he actually created. So he never actually ran that toolpath. Okay, the second one, Vcarve 1. So this is Vcarve 1 clear one. The second one is Vcarve 1 when we click that, and now it's getting all that weird stuff. Now we're starting to see something here, right? Remember, Bart didn't get this area cleaned out. And look at, he's got all kinds of lines in here. We're going to uncheck that, and then we're going to go to quarter clear and hit that. And now quarter clear is doing weird stuff here. We'll have to get inside the toolpath to see what it looks like, but it is doing something with an end mill. You can tell by the little image next to the name. That little picture. This is a VBit. This is a VBit. That's a VBit. That's an end mill. But I'm not sure exactly what's going on. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's go to the next one, which is called VBit BB. Click that. Okay, now that's like a repeat of the other one. All right, so Bart's just he's needing to understand what he's doing here and what's happening. Now, let's go into Profile 1, and there's Master Bart. So it's cutting the letters out. And then finally, we're going to go to Profile 2, which are the characters up top. Okay. So one of the things I'm noticing, when we select Vcarve 1 clear 1, we get these interesting little strange cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to uncheck that, and then we're going to go to quarter clear and click that, and it's all the same thing. So what has happened here is a common thing that I see a lot of beginners do. So what we do is we get in here, we come up to one of these buttons up here to create our toolpath. And then we're going to go back in to edit that toolpath because we want to fix it. A lot of beginners, it's very understandable. What we end up doing is clicking this button again, thinking that we're editing the toolpath. But whenever we click these buttons up here, we're actually creating a brand new toolpath, which is what exactly happened down here. Bart created this toolpath. We're going to split the screens on Bart's project, and we're going to just turn that noise off. You can see that black belt and the dotted line is selected. when these two are checked. Well, it doesn't matter when they're checked. I have to actually get into it. And so what I did is I double clicked the toolpath. Hold on. We are going to Vcarve 1, clear 1. We're going to double click that. And while we're in here, you can see black belt is selected and the line around it. So we are cutting out the area. What Bart is trying to do is he wants to carve out between the dashed line and the letters. If you look up here, this says that it's a Vcarve engraving toolpath. So he has a VBit selected, a 30-degree VBit, and then he's using a 1/4 inch, I'm going to assume end mill, to do his roughing work. You see this little checkbox that says use clearance tools. And so what that means is these bits are going to be used first, whichever in this box, and then this bit will be the final bit. But I'm not quite sure what's going on with this clearance tool here, because when we look at that toolpath, I think, okay, he has flat bottom depth checked, so he's going to a 0.8 inches. We are analyzing this project. We're going to click calculate, and it has done the same thing. It's just not doing this little weird inside area for whatever strange reason. A strange reason has to do with the type of toolpath he's selecting, which is a V-carving toolpath. This should not be a V-carving toolpath. This needs to be a pocketing toolpath. So what we're going to do, I'm going to close this, and we have already figured out that these two are the same as these two. He's just changed the names of things, and unfortunately it's not making sense anymore. So what we want to do is we are simply going to start over. We're going to select these four, and then we're going to right click, come over to delete, and we're going to delete all visible. Remember, visible are the ones that are checked. So delete all visible, and now we have gotten rid of those toolpaths. And what we're going to do is come back in and redo this toolpath by using the pocketing toolpath button. So we're going to click the pocket toolpath button, and we're going to look at all the settings here. We know we're going to go in between this line and the letters. So the letters themselves are going to stay. They're going to be raised. That's the effect that we're going to get, just like he got right here. But we are going to set this up so the whole surface is clean. So you can see we've got our cut depth of 0.1 inches. I'm going to reduce that just for now. It doesn't really matter. 0.1, 0.0, I'm changing it to 0.05. And then here we have two bits. We've got the 1/4 inch bit end mill and then the 1/8 inch end mill. And Vectric sees these in order. So we have two bits within this little box here. That means Vectric is going to write two toolpaths. And we're going to come down and we're going to give this a name. We know which black belt is selected, so we're simply going to call this black belt. We're going to catch this right at the beginning. Black belt. Now I know what we are carving. I'm going to click calculate, and it did take it. Let's close that for a minute. I did not delete these other two, so we're going to, the other one, 1, 2. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so what it did is now it just created two toolpaths, black belt clear 1 and black belt. Now you notice they're on the bottom. Okay, it's just Vectric is just always going to add to the bottom of the list. So we are now looking at black belt and black belt clear 1 and black belt. Now we're going to come over to the preview toolpaths. We're going to select that, and we are going to preview the visible toolpaths. But we have to reset the preview first to clean everything up. We're going to expand our screen so we can see it, and then we're going to preview visible toolpaths. And now Bart's project looks much cleaner. When you're doing a pocket like this, you don't want to be doing this as a V-carve or with a VBit, unless your VBit is coming in to taper the very end of this whole thing so that your B is tapered a little bit. It just has a little character to it. Now we're going to polish this up a little bit. You can see up here in Toolpath Color where it says Active Sheet, I have Toolpath Color selected, the radio button. There's a little box next to it where we can change the color of our cut. And I'm just simply going to grab a color. But we have to have so what it did, it just changed the color of something. Oh, wrong toolpath. Okay, so whatever toolpath is selected is the one that gets the color. I'm going to undo that for right now. I had the wrong toolpath selected. Okay, so I just turned it back to white, or just turned it to some kind of color. We're going to select black belt, and we're going to click color, and we're going to click that color right there, and now it looks good. Now we're going to click the little black belt, the other one, and we're going to do the same thing. We have to get it selected. Come on, Vectric, there we go. And we click that, and now black belt looks much better.
So we've cleaned up the kind of worst of this project, which was the surface around the black belt. Really, it comes down to choosing the right toolpath and understanding what that toolpath is doing. The one thing I want you to remember is when you're editing a toolpath, you can't go back up and push one of those buttons. You're going to start to create a new toolpath. You need to go down to the bottom and double click the toolpath that you want to edit. Hope that made sense, because that's the way you got to do it. We're going to go ahead and fix up the rest of this stuff. Most of the stuff is pretty good shape right now, but there's still some errors in this that need to get taken care of. So we're going to take care of that now. Again, thumbs up. I'd love to see a comment down below from you. And yeah, I'll see you at the end of the video.
Okay, so I'm going to delete these other two toolpaths, Master Bart and Profile 2. They actually don't look that bad. We're going to run everything. You can preview all the toolpaths just to take a quick look. Okay, so these characters actually look pretty good. Then we have Master Bart. So what Bart has done here is he's done what they call a profile cut here as well around the letters. I want to show you the letters. You have Master Bart, and they're basically Arial font. And what he has told the software to do is follow the lines of the letters. So we're going to zoom in. When you tell the software, we're coming over to the lower right corner and it says profile. Let's find the one that actually does that. Okay, so it's profile 1. We're going to go into that. And we are using a 30-degree VBit. What we are telling the software to do when we are in a profile toolpath is to take the bit and follow the line while it's cutting. So the bit is simply going to come around and follow every line, and then it'll come up, it'll go inside the R and follow those lines and do a little type of cut like what he has right here. Now, but I want you to notice, pardon my graphics, the R has this kind of weird pop-up in the top. Okay, so I would do this differently. But I want to show you something else. Over here, he has machine vector selected, which is normal when you're doing a profile. You have to have one of these selected, and he has outside right. Basically, he's telling the software to follow the line along the outside of the line. If we switch it to inside, I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. Let's just simply change this button right here from outside to inside. And we calculate, we're going to reset the preview, we're going to preview all the toolpaths, And now the R looks very different. All the letters look a little different, but they don't look good at all. I'm sorry. They look very choppy inside. When we do letters like this, you probably want to do them in a Vcarve. So what we're going to do is select that. We're going to delete. I right-clicked over the word. I'm hovering over the word delete, and I'm simply going to delete this toolpath. I click that. That toolpath is gone. And so now we're going to close, and now we're going to create a Vcarve. Now you can see over here, Master Bart is selected. We're going to go into the V-carving tool. We're going to get rid of the 1/4 inch bit. We don't need it. This area is for when you have large V-carves where the V bit can go so deep it makes the project look awful, or it can even cut through it. In this case, it's not going to do that. We're going to click remove. I'm simply going to uncheck the clearance tools checkbox, and that won't matter anymore. You see this box grayed out. And we're going to change this bit. This is a 30-degree V bit, which has a very sharp angle, and that could possibly cut through or very deep in the material. I'm going to actually show you. We're going to uncheck the flat depth box because the text is too small. There's got other videos that cover flat depth. Okay, so we have the 30 V bit. I've redone everything. We've removed the clearance tools. We've unchecked flat depth, and now we are going to go and calculate. But we want to change the name to Master Bart, so we know what this is. We're going to calculate it, reset the preview, and preview all toolpaths. And now Master Bart looks much better. Master Bart 2010. But you'll notice it is, if you can tell, it is quite deep. We don't need this to be that deep. So we're going to come back down to the toolpath. And we're going to double click on Master Bart to get back in that toolpath. And we're going to change the bit to a 90-degree bit right there. We're going to select it, and we are going to recalculate it. And we're going to reset the preview, and we're going to preview the selected toolpath. And now Master Bart is not nearly as deep. It looks much better, and it'll actually take a lot less time because that 30 V-bit has to work its way down. We're going to change the color to the same color. And so now we have Master Bart 2010, and that looks much better. Okay, let's take a look at his characters real quick. We're going to just zoom out so we can see what we got. I'm going to click Profile 2, and that's his characters. So we're going to click into it. And I think in this case, Profile is probably the best way to go. It is the way you want to go, because you want to outline the characters. And these actually look pretty good. Now he is set on the outside again, right there. We are going to change this to on the line. And I'm going to change this bit. 30-degree V-bits are for very fine detail. Now we can use the 30-degree V-bit on this, but we want to keep it really shallow. Tell you what, we will keep the 30-degree V-bit, but we're going to change our depth to a 0.04 as opposed to a 0.09 that he had. So I changed this number right here. We have the 30-degree V-bit. We changed it to on. We're going to come down and we're going to change the name to characters. And I'm going to calculate. I'm going to give it a color. It's already got the color because I did it by accident before. And I'm going to preview all the toolpaths. And now Bart's sign is created. And it's much cleaner than what he had right here. So, what you have seen is the troubleshooting process of this whole thing. So we're going to go back in and do one more thing, because remember, I always stress putting your bit names in here. There's one more thing that we have to do, and that's I think Bart's got this little outline text right here. When I click that, ooh, you've got 2 lines on here. So if you notice, like when I click the characters here, it's a dashed purple line. But when I click on this line right here, it's almost a solid purple line. That means because there's just 2 lines stacked over top of each other. So while I have that selected just like that, I'm simply going to hit the delete button to delete the one that was selected. Now I'm going to click it again, and now you see we are in much better shape. We want to add that little accent to this. This could be his cutout. We're going to just assume that the whole board is his project, and we're not going to actually profile out the board itself, but we are going to add that little accent. Very easy to do with what we've already set up. Remember, we got the characters here. We're going to double click that, and we're simply going to come and hold the shift button down and select that line, and then come back out and calculate, and then we'll just preview all the toolpaths again, and now we have added that little accent line. And then we can do a cutout toolpath if we wanted to, but we're not going to. So I'm going to close this, and you notice I did not give any names to the, like I didn't add the bits in yet because I didn't decide what bits I wanted to use. But I'm happy with this. So I'm going to come up to each one. Characters is a 30-degree VBit. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to say 30V. Now I don't know if this is going to be the first toolpath yet or not. I'm going to come into black belt. Black belt clear 1, it's a 1/4 inch, so I'm going to rename that one. We're going to take out the clear. So now the black belt, I'm going to name that with 1 and then put 14EM. And then the black belt, the second one, is an 1/8 inch bit. So rename that. I'm going to say black belt 2, 18EM. Click down here, master Bart. I'm going to hover over to see what bit it is. That's a 90-degree VBit. So we're going to right click, rename, go to the end, and we're going to say 90V. Okay, so now we have 4 different bits that we're using, so there's lots of changes going on here. If you want to make it more efficient, you can maybe change master Bart to a 60-degree VBit and change the characters to a 60-degree VBit. We won't do that because this video is getting quite long. We'll do it real quick just so you can see how we work through it. So I've clicked into the toolpath characters, selected it, and I'm going to go to a 60 VBit, which is not set up, so I'm going to set it up real quick. I'm not going to fiddle with the settings because we're not dealing with this kind of thing right now. And I'm going to change that to 60V right here. We're going to calculate, and then we're going to go down to the other one, the master Bart, and I'm going to double click into it, and we're going to change that to a 60V. Select. We're going to change the name to 60V. Calculate. And then we're going to re-preview everything. And the characters all still look okay. Now you can see it kind of got messed up right here on this character. So I'm not really liking the 60V. I'd probably go back to a 30V. But we've cut down on our time, and what we can do is simply close that, and we can move master Bart up to the characters. And now we've got those 2 run together, and then we're doing the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 inch, and then we save the toolpaths, go into toolpaths, and it says associated post processors. What this is saying is we don't have a post processor set up. I'm simply going to say later. And we can go to the visible toolpaths, group where possible, and then select all the toolpaths down here and simply save our toolpaths in the way that I showed you with Donna's project.
Well, we have finally made it to the end, and you, my friend, have now gone to the next level when it comes to doing this toolpath stuff. You know how to troubleshoot it, you know how to name it, you know how to save it the right way so it works for you and get things organized, all kinds of stuff. It's time to pack it in and go have a beer or something. Anyway, get to creating, give me a like. I'd love to see a comment. Give Vectric a call. Support me in however you can. I have router bits for you. I can make sure they're good quality bits. And there's a bunch of links down below. Go check it out. And you have yourself a great day. We'll see you later.